I'm the king of the world! Or actually, the organ is.
Hello everyone, Tina Guest with St. John's Faith Formation. I'm here with Eli McMahon. How's it going?
Pretty good.
Good. So today we're going to talk about the organ and the question revolving around what is the significance of this instrument for the Mass, and why not the piano or the guitar? So that maybe you could talk on that.
Sure. Yeah. So the organ is the only instrument that's specifically mentioned in Vatican II.
Oh.
And when it's mentioned, it's said that it is the king of instruments.
Oh.
The king of instruments,
yeah.
hence I'm the king
The
of
intro.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's to be held in high esteem. So what does that mean for us?
Yeah.
As members of the Roman Rite, the organ and the music associated with the organ has become so ingrained with that rite that it is actually part of our sacred tradition. And why is that? Like, why would we use the organ
Right.
instead of the piano or the guitar or whatever
Right.
instrument you speak of?
Right.
And there's a couple reasons. One is that it has many voices.
Okay.
So it can be super loud, bombastic, and delivers splendor to the liturgy. If you've ever heard a really loud organ postlude or a nice full hymn at the end of a mass, like you know that
Right.
it can really add a lot of splendor to this. It also can be very quiet and reflective and intimate, and it can be everything in between.
Okay.
It can sound like a string. It can sound like a trumpet.
Right.
It can sound like an organ. Like, there's a lot of sounds that you can use, and that versatility is really important to the liturgy because there are a lot of different kinds of music that happen within
Right.
the liturgy.
Okay.
Second, and much more practical,
Okay.
is it really helps with singing.
Yeah, I've heard that it's very easy to
Yeah.
sing to the organ.
And here's why. So the organ, in the way that it's constructed and the way that it makes sound, mimics the human voice.
Interesting.
Yeah. So we have lungs, right,
Yeah.
that supply our air. So does an organ. An organ has, downstairs, we have a little blower that works like an air compressor. It supplies the air to the organ. It's the lungs of the organ.
Okay.
We also have vocal folds, vocal cords that actually create the sounds that you're hearing. So does an organ. That's its pipes. We have a brain that tells us what to sing.
Yeah.
So does the organ. It's the console. It has you press the button and it tells the organ, aha, this is the note we need to play.
Fascinating.
Again, in terms of really practical things, it sustains notes just like a human voice. I can sustain a note at the same volume for a period of time as long as I have air. Right? I can go, and it stays the same volume as long as I sing that. A percussive instrument, like the piano or the guitar, has an attack and a decay. So it goes, or there's a little decay. And our voices don't work like that. So psychologically, musically speaking, having that thing that is more like to our voice, the thing that sustains notes as long as it has air, helps us to sing. It supports us more fully in the singing. We might be used to singing to pianos and guitars, but actually they're not the things that support us in that way.
Interesting. But why does Vatican II, why did they specify the organ to be the instrument of choice for the Mass?
All of those things that I just mentioned, the mimicking the singing voices, the having the many voices, the adding of splendor to the Mass, all of that over the course of the last, what would it be, 1,200 years that we've been using the organ in the Mass, has really made it into an instrument that immediately draws us into worship. It's a thing that's associated with worship. And it's an instrument that we don't really hear. You may hear it. I mean, there's times you hear it at the ballpark, but it sounds different, right? We use a different kind of organ for that.
Okay.
But when you hear a church organ, you think, I am in church. When you hear a guitar or a piano, you may hear that a lot in church,
right?
But you also will hear it probably more often on the radio, in concert halls, in everyday life, and it doesn't immediately draw us into that.
So it's an instrument that's set apart.
Yeah, it's a set apart instrument for this. It's a wonderful thing.
Great. Good. Okay, so maybe that helped a little bit. People understand why the organ is an instrument of choice here for the Mass. And thanks, Eli. God bless. We'll see you soon. God bless.
It's sword.
Oh! It's instrument that is mentioned.
Of course.
All right. Have a good week, and we'll hopefully we'll see you. We'll see you when we see you. Oh, that's dumb. Okay.